This is Dirk Danson with Waterline Boats. This is the 73-foot tug Quail, which you can see on our listings at waterlineboats.com or boatshedseattle.com. This boat is 73 foot. It was built in 1940. It's essentially in its original condition. The engine is a 1940 Atlas Imperial 6-cylinder air start direct reverse diesel. Boat's been in service. It was purchased by the current owner in 1950. He drove it down from Alaska, and he's been using it ever since. It's been in continuous service all that time. This owner's been operating it regularly since 1950, and he's still running it. Quite a breezy day today, but the boat just moves easily through the water. It's very quiet when it's operating. The engine is just sort of softly chugging away. It's turning at about 290 RPM at cruise speed. Produces about 200 horsepower maximum. The owner, now into his 80s, very comfortable running the boat. He likes to just sit back in his chair, and he steers the boat by moving the wheel with his feet. Very subtle motion. The boat's very sensitive on the steering. It'll track straight with very, very little correction needed. You can see just a little motion there, just a few degrees at a time. Very quiet in the pilot house when you're underway. Just enough engine noise to let you know it's running, and you can count the beat of the engine and measure its RPM that way. It's like taking its pulse. Step down and back, and we're in the galley area. There's a little dining area on the aft side. Cook stove and counter forward. There is a head that's accessible out on the deck on the starboard side there. Then we go down the ladder into the bow compartment. The bow compartment is quite large. There's originally 6 bunks. One of the bunks has been raised up so it can be used for storage underneath here. We've got 2 other bunks on the port side and 3 bunks on the starboard side. Chain locker forward. This is all very original. You'll notice a drive shaft overhead that actually powers that big anchor winch, and it runs off the power takeoff on the front of the main engine, so you have the full power of the main engine to run the anchor winch. There's a diesel stove down here and that sink, and there's also a shower curtain that can go around the sink area for use as a shower. There's a fiberglass catch basin underneath the shower there. Again, you'll notice the noise level is really quite low in the forward cabin, even though the door back to the engine compartment and the workshop is open. You pass through a little workshop area here at the forward end of the engine. Some power takeoffs on the front of the engine. It runs a 32 volt alternator and I think a 24 volt. Also a water pump is one of those reciprocating pumps that's running there. There's very little noise from the engine. It's basically just the mechanical noise of the valve gear and the various pumps. The combustion process produces almost no noise, and there's very little, if any, noise from the exhaust. It's more like it's breathing than running. This is full cruise speed here. The engine is set up so it's controlled from the wheelhouse, or it can be controlled from down here on the engine itself. It's a air start direct reverse, which means there's no reversing gear. To back up, you stop the engine, and then you simply start it up in reverse direction. So you have a direction control and a throttle control. By air start, we mean that to start this engine, you actually inject air into each cylinder sequentially, like with a steam engine, basically. It turns the engine over and then it starts up. Very simple to do. It was built to hold air pressure for a period of months, so you don't really have to run an air compressor on it ever. You'll also notice that there's a brake shoe on the flywheel that stops the engine automatically when you're changing direction. You can see this boat at waterlineboats.com or boatshedseattle.com. Again, it's a 1940 73-foot wooden tugboat built in Bristol Bay, Alaska, operated continuously in Puget Sound by the current owner since 1950.